The soul should fly from me, and I be changed into some brutish beast. Marlowe, Dr. Faustus. Hey guys, I'm back, and today we're going to talk about one of the greatest characters of a Marvel comic books, or the Hulk. Created by Stan Lee in 1962. Why is the Hulk one of the greatest characters of all time? Because the stories that involves with the Hulk are very interesting. And usually those stories are about conflict between the Hulk and the scientist, Bruce Banner. Even his complete name is Robert Bruce Banner. Everything starts with an experiment that involves with gamma radiation. And Bruce Banner has been working on the gamma radiation for years. But then there was an accident that hit Bruce Banner. And from that point, whenever Bruce Banner is angry to lose control, he will turn into this greenish, super powerful creature called the Hulk. And they both will face several adventures together. There have been very well done adaptations based on the character the Hulk and Bruce Banner in animated television series, video games, and movies. As the main character, the Hulk, got so much attention in the comic books. And today we're going to analyze this character through different movie adaptations. In this case, 3 actors have actually portrayed Hulk Bruce Banner. In Ang Lee's Hulk, in Louis Leterrier's The Incredible Hulk, and the Hulk in the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. Because actually the movie The Incredible Hulk by Louis Leterrier does take part on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but later on they changed the actor. But anyway, let's start. One of the most interesting things about the comic book of the Hulk is, besides being very adventurous and action stories, they can also get, not always, but sometimes, the dark side of the Hulk and how the conflicts will grow with Bruce Banner. In the same way, the stories can also be very psychological, to feel the feelings of Bruce Banner having inside of him the Hulk. In English Hulk movie version, the story is a very sad and dark one, which uses a very particular style, narrating the story with a specific editing and with a specific shots and lightnings to feel the emotions of the character. And the editing works so often to use the split screen to feel like a comic book story. And it makes it also interesting to see how the specific shots within nature or even with other details are very important to make the story of the movie The Hulk very powerful and very emotional. In Louis Leterrier's Hulk movie version, or The Incredible Hulk, it is still an emotional story, but differently from Ang Lee's movie version, is less dark, but still we feel the emotions of the main characters, and it is also very much cinematic, and in the same way the movie has more action sequences to make it more dynamic. And in the same way, The Incredible Hulk pays so much homages to the original television series, The Incredible Hulk, which Lou Ferrigno plays the Hulk, but it also gets much more detailed of the most fundamental elements of the comic books. In Mark Ruffalo's Hulk version, is a character who participates in different Avengers movies, like The Avengers, Avengers Age of Ultron, Thor Ragnarok, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame. Each of those films share the emotional parts of the character, but each of those movies are much funnier than darker, like the previous movie versions. What makes it also very interesting about seeing it in those movies is how the character in each of those movies will interact with the other members of the Avengers through all those adventures. One of the most interesting things about Bruce Banner and the Hulk is similarly to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, is each of them represent the good and evil balanced in a very thin line. The stories in the comic books, what makes them so interesting is not just the harsh conflict between each other, but it's also interesting to see how they will try in a way to collaborate with each other. In English Hulk movie version, Bruce Banner is played by Eric Bana. And we can see in the story, Bruce Banner is a tormented man who has a very dramatic past. Later on, after he gained all the lost memories, he will understand what his father has done to him and what actually caused him to turn into the Hulk. Most of the time, we can see that the Hulk will not come out just because Bruce Banner will get hurt, but most of the time because the stress of the horrors he had been through will cause him to have so much tension, which then the rage will explode until he will turn into the Hulk. And by the way, in this movie version, the name Hulk will never get mentioned. Instead, he will be called just a monster. In Louis Leterrier's The Incredible Hulk, Bruce Banner is played by Edward Norton. In this case, Bruce Banner is much more a guilty scientist who, after he had been exposed by the gamma radiation experiment, he will feel guilty that once he turned into the Hulk, he hurt some of the people he really care about, especially like Betty Ross. And in this movie, we can see he will try in all the way to get rid of the Hulk. Like he does not see the Hulk as a help or something that he wants to control, but something that is more a disease. In this case, the name of the Hulk will get mentioned, but the name will not be called by the journalist, but actually by two students who filmed and saw everything when the Hulk had a fight with the military. And then these two students will say that one of them called this greenish monster the Hulk. In Mark Ruffalo's Hulk version from Avengers to Thor Ragnarok, the conflict between Bruce Banner and the Hulk is still very harsh between each other. And in the Avengers Infinity War, whenever Bruce Banner needs the Hulk to take some important actions for what's going to happen in the movie, he doesn't come out. So we see in this movie more Bruce Banner rather than the Hulk. In the case of Avengers Endgame, what will happen in the movie is once Bruce Banner has found a way to cure himself, but not to get rid of the Hulk, but in a way to fuse himself and the Hulk to become then the character called Smart Hulk, which is actually a character has the body of the Hulk, but still has the brain of Bruce Banner. In this movie version, he even tries to make some jokes, but some of those jokes are not so funny that none of the Avengers will laugh. One of the most kind of important part of the adventure of Hulk's comic book is this character Betty Ross, who is a romantic interest of Bruce Banner, and she will try in all the way to protect and especially help Bruce Banner about what he will need in the adventures. Even those adventures will get really dangerous. In English Hulk movie version, Betty Ross is played by Jennifer Connelly, a very smart scientist who has also a very dark past, and in the course of the story she will understand what actually happened to Bruce Banner and she will try to help him. Even there will be a moment where Betty Ross and Bruce Banner will not anymore see each other. In Louis Leterrier's Hulk movie version, or The Incredible Hulk, Betty Ross is played by Liv Tyler, who after the accident that happened in the beginning of the movie, she has not seen Bruce Banner for a very long time, but once they will see each other again, Betty Ross will help Bruce Banner to accomplish what he needs to do, and they will also collaborate with each other in finding new solutions when is needed. But after the Incredible Hulk, Betty Ross will not be seen in any other Marvel Cinematic Universe's movies.